Liam, let's crack on with it then, and I'll start with you. Does it feel like the signing of Aubameyang is emblematic of Chelsea's transfer window?
I think it's emblematic of how quickly things changed in Chelsea's transfer window, because the ownership went back and forth on this signing. This is far from, plan A from day one of the summer. Chelsea looked at other players, other forwards. They looked at Lewandowski, but obviously his heart was always set on Barcelona. There were other high-profile targets, young and old, that they assessed before Aubameyang, and it was only really in the final weeks of the window, more opportunistically than anything, because Lewandowski went to Barcelona and a few other circumstances changed for Aubameyang there, that it became clear that this was a deal that could be done. And once it became clear that it could be done, I think Thomas Tuchel made it very clear that he really wanted to work with Aubameyang again. I mean, we've got that impression from listening to him publicly. Aubameyang's one of the few players that he never passes up an opportunity to talk glowingly about as a player and a person. But even then, in the sort of final week or so of the window, we were told there were still doubts within the ownership about whether Aubameyang was the right way to go for Chelsea. His age, some of the character questions that have been in the past, of course, certainly at Arsenal. And it was only really after the Leeds and the Southampton defeats that everyone at Chelsea aligned behind the possibility that Aubameyang was the right choice for Chelsea. And then they focused on talks with Barcelona and got the deal done for terms that I think they're happy with.
Before I get into the deal and the terms and Barcelona side of things, when you say the ownership went back and forth on this, is that Todd Boehly having a conversation with himself? Who is going back and forth on this? Where are the balance and the checks?
Well, I mean, it's an ownership group, a bit like FSG. That's certainly what they're trying to model themselves on. Todd Boehly is what they call the operator. He's the face of the club day to day. Of course, in this window, he's been the interim sporting director as well. So he's the person that everyone associates with the Chelsea ownership publicly. But you've also got Behdad Eghbali and Jose Feliciano, who are co-founders of Clear Lake Capital, the private equity firm that owns 62% of the club. So they have a pretty big say in all major decisions. And in the course of putting together our big transfer window read, it became very clear to us that Eghbali in particular was very active, very involved in all of the football decisions with Boehly, and they were very much working in partnership. So when you're talking about something like the Aubameyang signing, it's all of those people in the conversation. They've all got advisors as well. Thomas Tuchel has a voice. You have other investors in the group who are slightly more minor, but still there. So it is a conversation. It's not just Boehly kind of making decisions for himself.
Let's look at it from a Barcelona point of view before we drill down as well into what Aubameyang will bring to Chelsea and what Chelsea hope to get out of Aubameyang. Why, and presumably, Pol, this is just all about money, because if you look at what he did on the field, Barcelona wouldn't be happy for him to leave, would they?
Yeah, that's a good angle. I think that now when you look at it, it's probably like the perfect business for FC Barcelona, because they got him on the cheap, well, for free, basically, and they sell a 33-year-old for money. But in footballing terms, as you were saying, it was not like the plan A. It was not the desired option. He earned Xavi's trust during last season with the numbers that you have just mentioned. He was able to, and he was up to play a role for the team, and he could play as a forward, as a winger. He could perform like in a mobile front line. That is basically what Xavi wanted. But as we all know, it wasn't an easy window for Barcelona. And the plans design, they didn't work out, all of them, because probably if you ask like some executive at Barcelona, they would have preferred to sell players like Frankie de Jong, like Memphis Depay. Probably Frankie de Jong because he would have left like a bigger, he would have like a bigger impact like in the La Liga salary limits basically. And Memphis Depay, I think that was lower in the pecking order of Xavi, but at the end, I think that Aubameyang was the only player that had a genuine interest from a really big club. And at the end of the day, any ease off for their numbers was more than welcome. And Aubameyang was a realistic opportunity, and I think that's what made the deal happen, basically.
Liam, what do you make of what do Chelsea fans make of signing of the character? First of all, we'll come on to where he fits into a system and all of that in just a little while. But Aubameyang, the person, is there slight trepidation?
I think the biggest obstacle that most Chelsea fans are wrestling with right now is Aubameyang's status at Arsenal for so long, and the fact that he single-handedly beat them in an FA Cup final. Those tend to be the things that fans get most hung up on. But I think if he scores a few goals for Chelsea, that will recede a bit. In terms of the character, he wasn't done any favours by his portrayal in that All or Nothing documentary, and just the general coverage around his departure from Arsenal painted him in a very bad light. But weighing against that are the words of Thomas Tuchel, which most Chelsea fans still put an awful lot of store in, and he could not have been more effusive in his praise of Aubameyang as a character and as a professional as well. He's basically been a character witness for this transfer. Saying that the punctuality issues are massively overblown with him. That he was a great professional on the training ground, always worked hard on the pitch, was a ray of positivity within the squad and kind of a good influence on the younger players in that sense. And of course, he scored goals. Now, the caveat to all of this is that it's been about 6 years since Thomas Tuchel worked with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Both of them have probably changed significantly in that time. And of course, 6 years is a long time in a football career. And Aubameyang is 33 now. He's not necessarily the same player he was then. So those are questions that are still to be answered on the pitch. But in terms of what Chelsea fans are thinking about the deal, I think they're willing to give Tuchel the benefit of the doubt on this, because it's clear that the team is crying out for a more clinical edge. And Aubameyang showed enough, I think, in the second half of last season at Barcelona to suggest that he still has the capability to provide that. Of
course, all of this pressing chat, tactical chat, goal scoring chat, how he'll fit in is all irrelevant, Liam, because he's taken the number 9 shirt. So I mean, it's evident. I mean, it's just not going to work out, is it? So the last 10 minutes has been pointless. Doomed. I mean, I do have here in the last 11 years, I'm naming just 4 here who've worn the number 9: Torres, Morata, Lukaku, Gonzalo Higuain on loan. But around £200 million was spent on those 4. And let's not forget, the curse actually started with Chris Sutton. So that's how far back we'll go.
I can't believe you cruelly snubbed Khalid Boularus there as well.
Did Kesman wear the 9?
I'm trying to remember.
Can't remember.
I can't remember actually.
Falcao
he did or not.
Who?
Radamel Falcao.
Yes.
Yeah.
But his curse started earlier.
Yeah.
In his career, to be fair. Well, we were also told for a different piece that we wrote a few weeks ago that there was one Abramovich era signing, I'm not going to say who point blank refused to take the number 9 shirt at Chelsea because they'd been told that it was cursed, and they'd been convinced that something would go horribly wrong for them if they didn't, and ultimately they didn't wear it at Chelsea. So yeah, it's a kind of a thing, but at the same time, Tammy Abraham did pretty well wearing the number 9 shirt a couple of years ago. Him leaving Chelsea was less about that and more about just not clicking with Tuchel. And And I think the nature of top strikers is they back themselves to be the ones to break that.